Hi, hello
Hello,
everybody.
everybody.
Yes, welcome to the 8 to 10 focus activity. I haven't done an 8 to 10 in a while, I think.
Oh, really?
So it's nice to be back because I think it's a really nice level.
Yeah, lots of things to talk about.
Exactly. And yeah, lots of points we can discuss in terms of
Yeah,
grammar, but also it's at the level where you can just have nice conversations as well.
yeah.
So I like it. Um,
Mm,
I don't know if anyone has joined us yet, but if you
not
do
yet.
or when you do, please introduce yourselves. We love knowing more about you. So tell us what your name is, tell us where you are, and what school you go to. And in the meantime, we will introduce ourselves. So I am Jadene. I am from London in England and I teach at the Meravigli School in Milano.
Yeah. So great. I think I can see a couple of people joining us already. So I
Yay!
will. Yeah, great. So Jadine is from London, England, and she's a teacher at Meravigli. So I will introduce myself as well. So my name is Anika. I'm originally from Bangladesh. That's where I was born. And when I was 19, I'm 31 now. And when I was 19, I moved to Malaysia. Yeah. Yeah.
No! Oh
Yeah.
my God,
Yeah. I'm
you look
old,
so young.
but
No,
I'm
you're not
old.
old. You're not old, but you could definitely be younger or older. You can be older too, sure.
Thank you. So, but then when I was 19, I moved to Malaysia. Have you ever
Okay.
been in Malaysia, Jaden?
I have actually. I have been to
Oh,
Malaysia
wow. I'm surprised.
when I was 19 as well.
No way.
Yes, when I was
It's a shame we
19.
didn't meet there.
Yes. But no, it was nice, but it was very different to what I expected. We went to
Hmm.
three places:
Hmm.
um, Langkawi, Penang, and Kuala Lumpur.
Nice. I love Langkawi. It's a really nice
Yeah,
island. I went
yep,
there
it
to
was
celebrate
beautiful.
New Year's Eve one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But Malaysia is interesting because there is a big mix of different cultures all
Yeah.
in the same place.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah. So I'm also a teacher at Milano Meraviglio, like Jadine. Although I have taught in Montenero for a while. So if anybody's watching from either one of the schools or anywhere, just let us know. Tell us your name, where you are, which schools you attended, and yeah.
Mhm. Also, I realized that I spelled Via Mirabili wrong, but it's just because I am lazy. And when I type, I'm like this. I'm like, that's not right. Okay. Hi, Claudia. I'm from
Hello.
Rimini. Where is Rimini? Is it near the sea? My Italian geography is also very, very bad.
Yeah, I believe it is. Rimini is a nice place by the beach. Rimini, and there's another place called Riccione. They're quite popular for, I don't know, the seaside and some
Okay.
events they hold over there.
Well,
Nice.
as soon as we are oh yes, okay, good. As soon as we are
Mm,
post quarantine, I want to go. I want to go to the
yeah,
beach. It's becoming so hot outside. I only
yeah.
have jumpers at home. I wasn't prepared for the seasonal
Mm.
change, so
Oh gosh.
I know I'm going to leave finally in a month with just a very big coat and jumper.
Yeah,
I have
you
to go
gotta go
shopping
shopping
immediately.
right after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at least now I
Yeah.
finally have a genuine excuse to go shopping.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Look,
but
don't
yes,
stop me. I have a
okay.
good reason to go shopping now.
It's true. I'll be sweating. I hear that the summers in Milan. This will be my first summer in Milan,
Ah,
and I
really?
hear that they are very horrible, because they are so hot and there is no wind. from anywhere.
It's boiling hot. Yeah.
Mm. So we will, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Or you can go online shopping. You can order some summer clothes
Yeah,
whenever the
but it's
summer
not the
arrives.
same. It's not the same.
Hmm.
I want to see them. And in Italy, I don't understand the return policy because at home, if I don't like
Mm-hmm.
something, I can just
Mm-hmm.
give it back to the shop and it's okay.
Ah, yeah.
But yes, in Milan, people go away during the summer. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I think I will want to as well. So maybe we can
Hmm.
meet in Rimini.
Why not? I think it's a nice place to go to in summer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So today's focus activity is all about inventions. So what is an
Uh-huh.
invention?
So
Tell
an
us, Anika.
invention, an invention is something usually technology related that humans came up with. So humans thought of those ideas and it became very popular and people use it everywhere. For example, the telephone was an invention.
Okay, because yeah, there's a difference between inventions and discoveries, aren't there?
Oh
And just
yeah.
maybe we're not all comfortable, but I know definitely I sometimes
Mm.
hear the words confused because what is a discovery?
So a discovery is like when people find something that they hadn't found before, like a natural phenomenon, like discover gravity. So gravity has always been there. Nobody invented it. It's always there, and people just noticed it. They found it, so it's discovered. But invention is something completely new created by humans, not
Yeah,
really natural, kind of unnatural, I would say,
yeah,
but in a good
probably.
way.
And now, I don't know, because now sometimes I think there are like inventions that are in between. So, for example,
Hmm.
when you've taken something natural
Mm-hmm.
and maybe, for example, like genetic engineering. So, in
Oh.
genetic engineering, like of vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
it's where you can fertilize
Hmm.
certain vegetables
Yeah.
unnaturally. So I take them to
Oh.
a lab
Hmm.
and I organize them. But it
Mm-hmm.
means like my tomatoes are always going to be ripe or that I
Mm-hmm.
can grow strawberries in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that's kind of natural, but
Hmm.
I'm just changing the process.
True.
So
Would you
I
say
don't know if that would count
would
as
you
an
say that's
invention.
invention or discovery? That's a tough one.
I mean, it's not a discovery, but maybe there's a third category,
Hmm.
isn't it? Because it's kind of like it's
I think I
changing.
would personally say like invent genetic engineering, but I don't know. You may not agree with me.
No, I think it's bad. It's not discovery. I
Mm-hmm.
think genetic engineering is invented, but it's an invention that alters a natural process.
True. True. Very true.
Maybe there should be a new word for this, or maybe there is a word for this. If there's a word in Italian for when
Mm-hmm.
people invent something to change natural processes, let
Mm-hmm.
us know. But I think it would be an invention. Yeah.
Hmm. Probably.
Okay. So in this focus activity, we will be talking about famous inventions and also looking at passives. Depending on how the lesson goes, we will definitely look at past and present passives, and we may look at future passives.
Hmm.
We will see. So,
Okay. And also, yeah.
okay, so no, Anika, you can go.
Now I was thinking of like at the end we may talk about presenting invention, but if we have time for that, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the webinar focus activities are quite strange, but we will see. Maybe we can do everything.
Sure, yeah.
Um, so here are some examples of things that have been invented. Um, And we also have some questions. So, in your opinion, and this is for everybody watching and also Anika and I,
Mm-hmm.
which invention do you think is the most useful? So, the one I can use the most, the least
Mm-hmm.
useful, or we can say is pointless is a word.
Mm-hmm.
There is no point to it. The
Yeah.
most interesting, the craziest, the most important, and the most expensive. And this can include the images you can see on the screen. But if you can think of any other inventions, then you are welcome
Mm-hmm.
to tell us as well. And hi, Sophia, welcome. So, Anika, would you just go through what these inventions are?
Sure. So the first picture that we can see here, it's a little small, so I'm gonna have to look a little carefully. Yeah, it's could you give me some hints? Maybe I could help me out. It looks
Yeah.
like
So
it's
I
shaped like a pen, or maybe it's is it something that you smoke or
no, actually, it's something
um
that you look through.
mhm. Oh right, it's a I know. It's a binocular.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's not
So
a binocular because a binocular is two because I'm five.
all right.
Um, but I
A
think it could
looking
be. I think it's the telescope.
right.
So I think it
A
was
telescope.
the original one from Galileo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I think
So
yeah. The one that you like elongate like that and then you look through. Okay, it's a telescope. It's a really
exactly,
nice
you
invention. Yeah.
typically imagine like a pirate on a ship looking through one from far away.
Yeah.
So yes, a
Look
telescope.
into other pirates.
Exactly. Just having a look what's on the sea.
Yeah. So telescope is the thing that you use to look into the distant, like something far away, or gaze at the
Ah,
stars.
okay. And Claudia has told us in Italian. I'm not going to try to pronounce this word. It's embarrassing. Here's the Italian
Cannocchiale.
word.
That's a very difficult word
Beautiful.
for me personally as well. Cannocchiale. It's
But
a
yeah,
word I learned today.
I think
Thank you, Claudia.
excellent. And I think Galileo Italian because he definitely
I
sounds
believe
to me
so.
Italian.
I believe so.
So this is like an original Italian product, guys. Look at what you
Yes.
invented.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what
So
do we have,
then we
Anika?
have a telephone. Yeah, I love this kind of rotary telephone where you have to like dial like that we used to use in the past. Um, and then we can see a camera. So be careful, guys. Camera is very often confused with an Italian false friend. It's not a room where I am in right now, but camera is like a machine where you take, which you use to take photos. You can see a
And that's
camera.
also it's also a good point, Anika. Because I
Hmm.
hear this confused a lot as well. So in English, we always say to take a photo,
Yeah,
always. So the verb we use is to take a photo.
yeah.
And if it's
Mhm.
difficult to remember, imagine it's because the camera makes the photo and I take it from the camera.
True. Yeah, great. So you take photos using a camera. And then we have the next invention is on the right is airplane or aeroplane, whichever you prefer to
Mm.
say.
Or
Or
plane.
plane, just a plane. And next at the on the bottom left, I can see a monitor or television, you might say. It's a TV. And at the end, we can see a mobile phone
Okay,
or cell
excellent.
phone, some people
So
say.
oh, that's true. I think mobile is more British English
Hmm.
and cell phone is more American.
Yeah. What do you prefer to say?
I'd say mobile,
Hmm.
my mobile.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I think cell phone comes more naturally to me somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Where's
It's
my
always
cell
we would
phone? Can't find
know.
my cell phone. Yeah.
But I think probably now just phone.
Yeah. I mean, who uses a land phone anymore?
Exactly.
So Yeah, great. So we have answers coming up already. What is the most useful invention according to you? And Claudia thinks it's the plane. Okay, great. So what do the others think?
Mm.
Let us know. So yeah, definitely plane is really useful. It gets you to places, long distances. Has definitely made our world seem smaller.
Mm, it's true. What do you think is the most useful and also the least useful?
Hmm. Yeah, well, so for me personally, the most useful would be my cell phone. I think,
Okay. Why?
yeah, I don't think I could live without it these days specifically. Um, and yeah, that would be the most useful for me. And the least useful for me would be a telescope. Although I wish I had one,
Yeah,
I
again,
probably wouldn't use it.
maybe
But
in this period of time though, it would be nice to look
yeah,
at the start, or maybe just to look at what other people are doing. Although I think this is illegal and also creepy.
a little
Okay,
bit
it's
creepy.
creepy to look at other people. um, for
Yeah.
me, I think I agree with Claudia.
Hmm.
I think planes are the most useful.
Hmm.
Um, because maybe you don't need a cell phone. You can use the internet, you can write letters, you can see people. There are so many, well, normally,
Hmm.
there are so many ways to contact people or find information. But to
Yeah.
travel, airplanes are just, they're the fastest, they're the
Hmm.
easiest as well,
Yeah.
especially for long distances. But they are really bad for the environment. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I see your point there. Yeah, it really is. Like it brings you closer to people, not just.
But I
Yeah.
also agree that probably the telescope, especially this old fashioned kind of like whip it out
Yes.
telescope, is mm, probably the least useful.
Yeah.
Um,
So, what do you guys think?
yeah,
Those
yeah, tell us.
of
Or
you
which
who
do
are
you think
watching us.
is the most interesting or the craziest? And the craziest can mean a lot of things, couldn't it? Because
Yeah. Right.
I think probably cameras to me are the craziest because I do not
Hmm.
understand how they work.
Really.
I just really it
Hmm.
can, and I think I googled it once,
Hmm.
but it just I'm always so confused because
About
literally
cameras?
you yes yes
Oh.
and video camera. How is
Wow.
it possible to
Hmm.
record people or record things?
Well, I
I just
know a little bit because when I was at school, we used to have science fairs and we had to make like as a project, I made like a pinhole camera. So like the very first camera a long time
oh,
ago. Yeah, the concept is actually very simple, but then they updated it and put a lot of features in it.
but were you
So
able to take pictures using your pinhole camera?
no, but I got like an image like on a tracing paper. Like
Ah,
we didn't
okay.
use a film if we had to take a picture, then we had to wait for hours and hours.
Yes, that was the thing. And that's, I think, why nobody smiled in the first ever photos because you'd have
Yes,
to smile for like 10 minutes and it's just easier
longer
not to.
for hours.
Um, exactly. So we have some other answers now.
Right.
Antonio has said smartphones are, so remember, um, oh, um, that's cute. Hello, Olga. Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm assuming you are in Milan, but I'm not sure. Um, but it's nice
Oh,
to know
hi,
Anika. You're
Olga.
so
I
cute.
remember Olga from Montenegro.
Ah, Montenegro. But yes,
Yeah.
cute, cute, so
I
nice.
think you're
Um,
really cute too, Olga. Thank you for the comment.
oh, how nice. Okay, so Antonio has said smartphone is the most useful. The only thing is when we are talking about things generally, Antonio, we always use a plural. So smartphones are the most useful. And then we use the verb are because that's what we use for he, she, it. No, for plural, for they. They are. Um, okay, so smartphones are the most useful, but he thinks the landlines are the most useless, which I guess makes sense because if everyone now has a smartphone, and you said the same thing, Anika, we
Yeah.
don't need to use the landline anymore. You cannot move around
Yeah.
with it. The connection's not
Mm-hmm.
better, so probably.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Claudia thinks the most interesting is the camera. I agree. I agree. The camera or the airplane, because it's just,
Hmm.
I'm so confused by them. Okay, whereas Antonio says, I think the telescope is the craziest. The telescope
Hmm.
was, so the past tense of is, already invented when Galileo Galilei decided to use it to watch the stars in the sky. That actually is also true. The telescope is a very, very old invention. I don't know which is the
Hmm.
oldest,
Hmm.
but it is very interesting and a bit crazy that people decided to make something to look at space. And from that, they could, I think, make a calendar and like chart the months and the years. And they've been
Hmm.
accurate even today. So it makes me feel very useless, I think, when I think about what people did hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And I could
Yeah.
never have these kind of ideas, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Yeah.
modern people
Anika,
don't have any patience.
it's true. I just Google everything. If it doesn't exist, I will wait for somebody else to make it.
Yeah.
Anika, what do you think is the most important and the most expensive?
So I think the most important invention on this list would be, to me personally, the plane is the most important because people are able
Okay.
to travel abroad, work abroad, look for more opportunities, visit their family far away. So I think it's important. And most expensive, I would have to go with the same one. Planes are the most expensive inventions as well. Or if I have to come
That's
to
true.
think of it, outside of this list, there can be so many others. Um, Maybe some scientific research about, yeah, but then plane is what comes to mind at the moment. What about you, Jaden? What are the most important and most expensive inventions for you?
Yeah, probably the most important, like planes or smartphones.
Hmm.
But the most expensive, I think planes are expensive to make, but the
Hmm.
ticket can be quite cheap.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, I think for camera equipment or like a really, really good smartphone, I think they're really expensive actually. Like maybe for the lens of a camera, which is what you use to look through, they can be
Hmm.
like thousands of pounds or thousands of euros.
Hmm. Yeah. There's a good
Yeah.
question here from Olga. Yeah. So what does it mean? What does craziest mean? So right, so if to explain that, we would have to start with what crazy means, I guess. So
Yeah.
crazy. Do you want to talk about what is it? What does crazy mean, Jaden? Do you want to tell us?
Um, okay. So crazy can mean some different things. Crazy can mean if someone is really angry, you can say they're crazy. Or if someone is acting very unusually, so not in the normal way, you can say this person is a bit crazy. But in this context, crazy is a bit like absurd, which just means
Absurd.
it's
Okay.
ridiculous. This thing is, it seems impossible, not
Mhm.
logical. How
Mhm.
have they made this? It's crazy. So
Mhm.
some people might say the plane is the craziest invention because people should not fly. But someone
Yeah.
was like, no, I want to fly. I'm going to make something so that I can do it. And other
Yeah.
people say it's crazy. How can they do that? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um.
Right. And craziest is the superlative of crazy.
Oh yeah.
So if you say one thing is crazy, you just say, yeah. So if I say I'm crazy, you just say I'm crazy. But if I compare myself, if I compare myself to different people, or if I compare one thing to different things, and then it's the craziest. Okay, so for
Exactly.
example, um, I think cell phones are a crazy invention. It's very unusual and absurd. But I think probably cameras are the craziest among all of them, as an example.
No, I think that Olga gave a great example though. An aeroplane with a balcony would be the craziest imagination, definitely.
Yeah.
Because it's just ridiculous. It makes no sense. But maybe one day that would actually be
Yeah,
really cool to think if you
I
can just have a
know.
look at all of the sky.
Yeah.
And Claudia as well said she thinks that televisions, again, televisions, because generally we use the plural, could be the most expensive. That's true. If you get a really good quality television, or a really big television.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Sure.
if we move on. Okay, this is quite a nice discussion topic, I think. So do you want to
Okay.
read the slide, Anika?
Yes. Famous inventions. Number one, how have these inventions changed since they were originally produced? Number two, what changes have been made to update each of these products? And number three, are they still useful or have they become completely obsolete?
Okay, so what is obsolete?
So when something is obsolete, they are too old to be used anymore. Like they're not around anymore. So, for example, from among these picture, like I can say land phones are now obsolete. We don't see them around anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Or
We don't need them. Or the video. The video is
yeah,
not in this picture, but now there is DVD and there
yes,
is Blu-ray. So the old videotapes,
mhm,
VHS,
yes,
are completely obsolete.
yes. I miss a lot of things that are obsolete. Like when I was
Me
little,
too.
yeah, we used to see some things around we don't anymore. Yeah, so that's obsolete. So we can probably discuss the questions one by one. So the first is how have these inventions changed since they were originally produced? So if you guys want to answer, please put down the number and write down your answer. Type out your
Yeah.
answers.
Yes,
We
but
are
there are
good.
three more. There are three more inventions in on this slide as well. So just to quickly say,
Ah,
the bottom one is a car.
mm-hmm,
The second one is a plug or a
mm-hmm,
charger,
mm-hmm.
I think. This first one though, I have no idea.
Sorry, which one are you talking about?
Honestly, sorry,
Okay, the
this
on the
one.
top right.
Hmm.
All right. Oh goodness. Could
I think
be.
we can ignore this one.
Yeah, we can ignore maybe a nuclear power plant. Who knows?
I have
Um,
no idea.
or some
But we
kind
can
of
also we can stick
aircraft. Hmm.
to the original series.
Yeah.
um. But yes.
Or we can think
Okay.
of
So how?
some things that are not in the pictures. Anything that you can see around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, for
It's true.
example,
It's true.
hmm,
So one thing that I hope will become obsolete,
mm-hmm.
although I'm not sure, but are single-use plastics.
Oh yes.
So single-use plastics, I'm sure you know,
Mm-hmm.
are things made out of plastic, but that you can only use once. Because now there are lots of things that are being made that are recyclable. For example, plastic bags now they can biodegrade, which means they can, yeah, just turn into soil, I think. So they produce less plastic pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Also bottles, like my
Yes.
bottle, all of these things are being made, which I think eventually, hopefully, single-use plastics will not really be needed because almost everything can be recycled.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I hope for that. Some things that are obsolete, I really miss. For example, the older type of cameras that they used with films inside, like that came in a
Oh yeah,
canister. Yeah,
no,
those were nice. Mm,
yeah, it's cool. We call them at home disposable cameras. And
hmm.
again, these are plastic, but these are cameras that you can only use
Yeah,
um, unless it's a film camera that you own. But
yeah.
a disposable camera is you can use it 24 pictures, I think.
Hmm.
And then when it's
Okay.
finished, you can never use it again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good for our environment at all. Oh, Kiara
No,
here
but
has a.
it was fun. It was
Hmm.
always fun to use.
Yeah. So, Kiara here says airplanes changed our lives, so VES, because now we can travel faster and go everywhere. Yeah, can go everywhere. That's true. I think it's been a great invention, although it can be like bad for our environment, like causes a lot of pollution, but in the end, we really need it, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for them, which means I have a lot of things. I'm glad that they exist.
Yes. Yes.
Oh no.
Okay. So how have they? So I think Kiara was referring to the first question because change invention change.
I think maybe the
Yeah.
third question. So are they
Yeah.
still useful?
Hmm.
So airplanes definitely. For the
Hmm.
first question, how have these inventions changed? So
Hmm.
like we mentioned, so for the cameras, they started,
Hmm.
um, you need to have film, whereas now everything can be digital, you know?
Hmm.
Um, which means you don't need the film anymore. You can see the picture straight away
Yeah.
immediately after you take it, which can be a problem because some people they want to take pictures again and again and again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's true.
oh, so this is cool, Claudia. Maybe someone will invent. Remember, invented is in the
Hmm.
past, so will
Hmm.
invent electric airplanes. That would be really good,
Yeah.
actually. I don't see why they can't if there are electric cars now.
Hmm. Sure. But then everything has its pros and cons because even electric cars have batteries to use, and to dispose
Yeah,
of those batteries is a really big thing that can pollute the
that's true.
environment also. So
Ah,
Kiara has
okay.
answered the last question. I think the home phones are obsolete now. Yeah, home
Yeah,
phones or landlines are obsolete, definitely. Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
landline is just a landline is just the word we use for our home phone.
Yeah.
But do you have a home phone?
Um, I personally don't. I just use my cell phone and that's it. What about you, Jaden? Do you have a land phone?
No, I also don't, but my family all
Mm.
always have landlines, and I'm not sure
Mm.
why. But when I was a child,
Yeah.
uh, if I told my parents I was going to a friend's house,
Mm-hmm.
or the other way around,
Mm-hmm.
uh, our parents would always call the landline to make
Mm.
sure that you are at the person's house.
Oh, yeah. To check on you. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. To make sure that you were where you said you were going to be.
Yeah.
Um, and what do you think for question number two about televisions,
Hmm.
Anika?
So, what changes have been made to update each of these products? Well, televisions have changed a lot over time. In the past, they used to be black and white without any colors, um,
Yes, true.
and there didn't used to be so many channels as they have now. So they turned
Yeah,
into colored television, and then a lot of channels open up for specific things for kids, for everybody. So television has, and then the structure of it has has improved a lot. Now it's bigger, flat screen,
yeah.
so many
But
things. Do
now,
you?
Guy, and this is for everyone, do you think with things like Netflix or Amazon Video or, yeah, do you think that we
Mhm.
will need televisions? Or do you think that everyone will eventually just stream, stream from their phone, from their laptop? Do you think you would still like a television, Anika?
So that's an interesting question to be asked. I'm just gonna mention this to the. Um, I'm just gonna type it out for
Yeah,
the
sure.
others. So, do you think television will become obsolete?
And in the
Well,
meantime, sorry, I just
I
see
think.
Kiara has put that she has a landline, but she doesn't use it so much.
Hmm,
Okay, but you use it sometimes.
hmm. Yeah, I know people personally who still have home phones.
Yeah,
So
I like them. I think they're a nice thing, but we don't need them.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think television will become obsolete. I mean, I don't have a TV and I don't watch television much. So with Netflix and the internet and everything, probably we wouldn't
Mm.
need them anymore. Do you? What do you think, Jadine? Oh, so Claudia
Um,
has.
but,
Go ahead.
ah, I watch television only for the news. I do like to watch the news. Again, personally, I do like televisions.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe the physical television will always stay because it's nice to have a bigger screen.
Hmm.
But I don't know if we will need all of the channels or if people will
Hmm.
need to pay, for example, for Sky or for like other kind of television subscription services
Hmm.
while we have like all the online ones that we can do.
Hmm. True. Okay.
Okay. So, for the last like 12 minutes,
Hmm.
we can do this quick invention vocabulary task and then talk about the passive.
Hmm.
Um, so on the left, we have a group of words, and on the right, we have some of their definitions. So while Anika and I read them, if you guys want to start matching them up, it would be really, really great. And also, Kiara has put in a comment. So I don't like television. I prefer Netflix and streaming movies. I use television just for the news, so similar to Claudia. I also think that now it's very important because of the coronavirus. Yes, it's true,
Hmm.
actually. If
Hmm.
something needs to be announced nationally,
Hmm.
they do that on television, although maybe you can find it online. I watched
Hmm.
the UK announcement online from our Prime
Yeah.
Minister yesterday. So
Hmm.
I don't know if you'll need the television. Um, so yeah, Anika, do you want to read the screen?
Yes, sure. So in the first column, we have a patent, to flop, to take off, to come up with an idea, obsolete, and feasible. Okay. So in the
Mm.
second column, we have capable of doing, to achieve popular success, to completely fail, useless or outdated, to think of, and exclusive legal right to manufacture, use, or sell an invention.
Okay, so we have some language which is quite formal, maybe, which is like genuine, and then we have some other language which is a bit more colloquial or slang. For example, to flop, to take off, and to come up with an idea
Hmm.
are all very, I think, casual ways of speaking. And Antonio has told us that a patent is a false friend. Italians could confuse it with a driver's license. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's really very often confused. So patent
I
is
didn't
not
know
a
that.
driver's license in English. It has a different meaning. And what is the meaning?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
exclusive legal rights.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
So
And
both Antonio
number
and
two,
Chiara has got
Antonio,
this.
fantastic. So exactly, to flop, if something flops, it means you didn't just fail, you completely failed. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
Really great, guys. So does anyone know for to take off?
Hmm. That's a very common phrasal verb.
Mm. And just to remind you, all phrasal verbs are when we use a verb and also a preposition, but
Hmm.
together they mean something different to the original verb.
Yeah.
And thank you, Antonio, for this information because it's not something that I knew before.
Hmm.
So to take off, to come up with an idea, obsolete, which we already discussed, and
Hmm.
feasible. So does anybody know? Okay, so maybe there is a delay in the comments, but Anika,
Hmm.
do you have any ideas?
Probably it's not very common, so probably, yeah. So to take off is to achieve popular success. So something that, well, takeoff
Okay.
can have different meanings, right? So maybe the students are
Mm,
thinking, okay, an airplane takes off, but then
yeah.
in this case, like to achieve something like her career took off when she was, I don't know, 20.
Yeah, no, exactly. So to take off, if something takes off, then it's become
Hmm.
successful. So it's like the
Yeah,
opposite of flop.
yeah.
And then the next one, if we come up with an idea, I think this
Hmm.
one is probably quite obvious for a lot of you.
Yeah,
If
to think
you,
of.
oh, exactly. Kiara, yes, and also well done, Antonio, for to take off. We've just seen your comments.
Yes.
So to come up with something is to think of something. So as we said, Galileo Galilei came up with the telescope because he thought of it. He invented it.
Hmm.
And exactly, obsolete means if something is useless or outdated. And outdated just means it's too old, we don't need it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which means that feasible is, of course, is capable of doing something. So if an idea is feasible, it means yes, we can do it.
Hmm.
So for the last thing that we're gonna
Antonio is on
no problem,
fire!
Antonio.
Yay!
It was great. Um, so for the last thing that we are going to do, guys, obviously, I don't think any of you can access the resource, but there are four inventions on the screen. So the
Mm-hmm.
car, which actually is the driverless car, blue
Mm-hmm.
jeans in the second picture, which are the trousers, Coca-Cola, and potato chips, or crisps, as we say in England.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which would you like to do today, Anika? You can choose one.
Hmm. Mm. So I am going to talk about. So what we have to do is in. Okay. I think we can talk about cars.
Okay, so if we talk about the driverless car, so the car that drives itself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you all some sentences in the active form, and I want you to change them into the passive form. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe Anika can explain how for the first one,
Sure.
and then everyone can do the rest.
Okay. Yeah. So passive is a form that is quite useful, especially when you're reporting something or when you're writing a report. In many occasions, passives are very useful. So basically, we use passive when we change the object, when we switch the subject and object. For example, if I say I eat apples in the active form, in the passive form, you say apple is eaten by me. So what you do is you put the object first instead of the subject. You use the verb to be, the past participle of the verb, and the rest of the sentence. Okay, so it takes two to tango, doesn't it? Okay, I wonder what he was referring to. Probably to the students and the teachers, who knows. I think I've lost you, Jadine.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, I'm
Can you
sorry.
hear me? But
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm putting comments in the chat, but I'm
Mm,
not sure if they're
okay.
coming up. So there should be one
Yes,
about
they
the
are.
car.
Yes.
Okay, so guys, everybody, with these sentences that I'm sending, for the
Hmm.
last few minutes, I just want you to change them, if you can, into the passive.
So, what's the story? We're not going to read the whole story, but we're going to change sentence by
No.
sentence.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll do one sentence for each picture.
Hmm.
And maybe while I'm typing, you can outline which word is the
Yeah,
subject, which word is the verb.
object. Yeah. So, Google is leading a new project for driverless cars. So, the subject here obviously is Google. And so subject will not be subject anymore in this case. A new project for driverless cars is the object. So you want to switch them. Yeah. So what would be the passive sentence? Think of it carefully. So I'm going to write down the form. I'm going to give you the formula. So first you put the object instead of the subject, the verb to be, and then the past participle of the verb. Okay. Um, But if it's a present continuous tense, then it may be slightly different. So we have a reply from Claudia here. A project for driverless cars was, okay,
This is almost correct, Claudia.
almost correct, yeah. So in this case, okay, I think it's my fault because of my explanation. It's not just the verb to be. It's the verb to be for present and past, simple. But if it's continuous, you use is being. Yeah, because the original sentence was, what was the sentence? Google is leading a new project. So a new project is being led by Google.
Yeah. So the main verb, I think we always make past participle.
Yeah.
So Google is leading a new project. A new
Mm-hmm.
project is our object, so it becomes the subject. A
Mm-hmm.
new project is being led.
Yeah.
But
I
that
think
one
the
is
easier,
very tricky.
sure. I think number two is easier than the first one because it's just in past simple. So in this case, you say Jacob
Exactly.
and Davison Levi Strauss invented the first pair of jeans. So in this case, you use verb to be in the past participle of the verb. So let's see if
Yeah.
we have any answers.
So
Oh,
Kiara, let's see. So yes, the first pair of blue jeans, good. And then you've said are invented by Levi and blah blah blah. That's almost perfect. But don't forget, we're talking about the past. So if something was invented, then we also need to use the verb to be in the past. So the first pair of blue jeans was invented by these people.
yes. Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Oh, and thank you, Antonio. It's nice to speak
Yeah.
with you too. Um,
Thank
the
you.
schedule for the webinars change every week. so I'm not
Mm.
sure when we will be together again. Um, but if you keep watching, I think we will pop up.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I think we're almost out of time. Mm,
Yeah, Lily, we can quickly go through this last one.
yeah.
So Dr. Pemberton is our subject. Invented
Mm,
is the verb, and Coca-Cola in 1866 is the object.
mm-hmm.
So now we start with the object, Coca-Cola, and then similar to the last one, was invented because we're still talking in the past
Mm,
by this person in
mm,
1866.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
just a really quick summary, and sorry that we didn't have so much time to go through the passive.
Mm.
I thought we would have more time, but we just talked too much. Um, but we looked at some vocabulary about inventions, and we also
Mhm,
discussed different inventions, how they have changed, and yeah, our opinions on whether we think they are useful, which we think
mhm,
will become obsolete, etc. Claudia, yes, and Chiara, perfect. Both of you. So Coca-Cola was invented by Dr. John Smith in 1866.
mhm. Great, great.
Okay, cool. So we have to go. I'm sorry, but there
Yeah.
will be another webinar on straight after
Yeah.
this one if anyone wants to stay.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. Have a great day, guys. Bye.